Good morning, folks, and welcome to our Midweek Conversations. We've been doing this for a few weeks now, and time goes on and we meet more and more lovely people in the family that is Emmanuel Methodist Church. And today I'm continuing to meet another member of our leadership team. Doris is with us this morning. Welcome, Doris. It's good to see you here. I'm sorry it's a bit early, but nice to see you, Doris.
That's all right. Thank you. Good morning.
Doris has been worshiping with us with her three lovely boys for about 2.5, 3 years, I think, probably now. Originally comes from Ghana. So it's great that Doris is a part of our conversation. And some of you might have seen her included in the BAME interview that I did as part of the worship on Sunday morning. But anyway, just tell us a little bit about yourself, Doris, about who you are.
Thank you. My name is Doris. Like you said, I come from Ghana originally. I've got 3 boys. And I have been a teacher in Ghana before moving here. And here I do teaching assistant and learning support in secondary schools. I'm a Christian. That's most important. I believe in God. And I live in Barnsley, Ireland. Yes, I come from a family of 6, and I'm the second one. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. And how is lockdown treating you? Because for many people, it's a bit up and a bit down, maybe a bit more down than up. And I know that you previously were working. Is that still happening? What is your personal situation in terms of work and also your mood situation?
Thank you. It's been quite challenging. I mean, throughout this time. Yes, I was working, but furloughed because of this COVID-19 pandemic. So we've been at home. Some of us, we've been at home till now, and it's been really hard because it's my first ever time I have sat at home. This is my longest period of time that I've been at home without working, like being busy. I've always been the busy bee, so it has really impacted on me, but I have been able to pull through by faith, and also by the work that we do engage as leadership team, the meetings, the connection that we share with the church family and everything. And the fact that I've got the boys also get me busy as well. So, but it has been ups and downs. I mean, there are times you feel really, really low, but like, I don't know how to explain the feeling, but you feel quite, I don't know, especially when the boys move, you feel like, oh, what do I need to do? Walking, going about. I mean, sometimes we walk to the woods and back, and then you go like, oh, we're always looking forward to brighter days. And then you keep counting and hoping and trusting in God. Yeah, so we've been able to manage, by the hope that we share and the love of God, that one day we'll be all right.
And I guess with teenage boys, I have teenage boys, they hive off a little bit on their own. So sometimes I guess it can be lonely being a single adult in your house. Is that a common feeling that you felt sometimes?
It does. Yeah, I do feel it a lot. Yeah, because they're quite together. So when they're together doing their own thing, and then I sit here, sometimes I read through, and then you realize that, oh, you feel lonely. Yeah. And that's also the other side of it, which makes it a bit hard and difficult.
And you said that connecting with the church family, with the leadership team has helped. What else has helped in terms of faith journey in these strange and difficult days?
Yes, it has helped. And also, I mean, the love that we share in the family, in the church family, because I do get phone calls from Michelle and Robin, which is really lovely, checking on me and the boys. And then me also. It's also nice ringing some of the church members and or testing them. So it's like that feel of love, even though we are apart, we are distant, but we still share the same love. And also the postings and reflections that we've got to do has also been a major part of my strength as well, because you feel like, oh, I've got to do this week. It will be my turn that I've got leadership meeting Zoom day. So you always have something to do. And once you sit down to do your research, I normally like to read a bit. And so, well, it has also been another exposure for me. I have really learned through all this period. So many things I've heard in the church, preaching Bible. The period served as an opportunity for me to engage with it myself, then to know some of the truth, and then to, find it out myself. It's been, it has been really good experience for me and helped me a lot.
So actually what you're saying is having a bit of a role as a leader in the church, and then the expectations of that in terms of preparing a weekly reflection has been part of the sustenance and the growth actually for you in terms of faith. I mean, how has your faith gone, as it were, through your life? Have you always been in a Christian home? Is that common in Ghana? And you know, where has God taken you, as it were, in your journey? Can you just share a bit of that with us?
Yeah, thank you. In Ghana, I would say that once you are born into a family, you are either a Christian or a Muslim. Yeah, so I would say about majority, over 90% belong to a faith, a religion. So I was born into a Christian family. My mom was quite active. My dad was sometimes, but the good thing is he would make sure that you always go to church. When we were young, Sunday school was compulsory. It wasn't like, so you didn't have any choice. So you have to go to Sunday school, except when you are ill. So if we didn't want to go, you have to, you are ill or unwell, and he has to make sure that you can't walk or you can't sit. Then he will ask you to stay at home. But otherwise, it was really, even when he wasn't going, he made sure we all go to Sunday school. So I would say that was the beginning, or that was how we built our faith. Right from childhood, you are introduced into it through our Sunday school. And then once in secondary school, you just carry it on. So I found my faith deepening even in secondary school more. Throughout my primary school education, whilst I was in primary school, we go to Sunday school. Secondary school, I joined the Methodist Students Union. So we call it Ghana Methodist Students Union, GAMSU. So I was one of the executives at if it's here, they will say year 10. But we were following the British system, so we say Form 4. That is the 4th year in secondary school. So we used to attend national conference. So that was where I began to experience a spiritual growth. I begin to understand things, proper understanding of what I was doing, of my faith and worshiping God, the belief in putting faith in God and prayer. So it kept building on. And then I got confirmed in uni first year. So it was university, my first year, that I decided to be confirmed. So I confirmed my faith in the church and everything, because that was when I really decided that, this is the way I'm gonna go. Yeah. And it hasn't always been smooth. It hasn't been a smooth journey up to now. There's been ups and downs, even in my Christian faith. There are times you go through stuff that makes your faith dwindles a bit. You feel, God, why? Why is this so? Is it really necessary? Do I have to bother, or do I have to just push everything aside and have my own way? And sort of, but the one good thing which kept me in it is always identifying and associating yourself with a group. With the fellowship, within a fellowship has helped a lot. So even when there are times you feel like that, you'll be phoned or called that, oh, we've got meeting, or you've got this, are you coming? Sometimes I feel like, okay, I will go. And then a word will come, or just a song, or the message that will come, has something for you, an element in you that is like ministering to you or addressing what you're going through. So that will change your mood and will begin to bring you back. It will be a thought-provoking, a turning back time for you to rethink. So that is how my Christian faith has been. But then I realized that through it all, each phase I go through, after going through all that with the support, or within the Christian fellowship, brings me closer even to, brings me closer in the things of the Spirit to know God even better. It's like an experience drawing me closer to someone to explore, to know why, to know, even though we don't get answers. But I look back and I think, oh, I always look back and I think, anyway, they've been really good times. So I'll keep going. He's never left me. Yeah.
Yeah, and my experience is even you need the bad times sometimes in order to move on. And though you wouldn't wish them on yourself or anybody else, actually God still uses those difficult times to enable us to move on to the next stage of our journey of relationship with him, or trust in him, or faith in him. So that's the benefit of hindsight, isn't it? When you look back, you can see that God has been guiding you.
Absolutely.
And I know church has been really important to you, hasn't it? Because you've not only lived in Barnsley, you've lived in down south, and you were part of a church there. Is that something else that's helped you when your faith has been hard, just being part of a church family?
Definitely, tremendously. It's really helped me. Like I always say, been through a lot, especially I thought sometimes you've been through one situation and you think, oh, you wouldn't think you face or you go through another phase again, or you think, oh, okay, it will never happen. Not the same thing, but it comes in different forms. So living down south, the church family I was in, just like here, we got really engaged with the church and all the activities, so we were fully into it and we enjoyed it. So the church activities and everything, I was in the worship team, because we have a little worship team that we do. We sing worship before the main service starts. So that also helped me, the meeting times, and then the Bible studies, which I normally hosted in my house. Well, the minister decided to host in my house because I wasn't able to attend. Yeah, so that was one thing. So I was always ready. And the Bible lessons and the discussions and the fellowship that we shared on those days really, really strengthened me when I went through bad times. Yeah, because we had, I would say that was the worst time. That was what brought us up here. It was really hard, really, really challenging and difficult times. One of the biggest decisions I ever have to make in my life. But I think Proverbs 3:5 was what we were using in the church, and I kept using it even when I moved here. God direct my path. You said we should acknowledge you when we don't know what to do, and you just guide us through. So it helped me a lot, and the church family was really, really supportive. Very. Sometimes I go and then they ask me, so Doris, you go through all this, and then what has helped you? How have you made this? I don't know what to say. All I say to them is, well, I don't know, but all I know is I could feel someone with me through it all. I have wept, I have screamed in the shower, in the bathroom, praying and talking to God. Sometimes I behave as if he's in front of me and I sit him down. I want to talk to you, Father. Why are you allowing me to go through this? Show me what I need to do. Why is it so? After wiping my tears, I go to the church activity, or sometimes Steve will invite me. Steve was our minister and say, oh, we're going for retreat and this so next week we'll come for you in the bed. I said, okay. And each of those, like you said earlier on, has really been my strength. So I would say through it all, the faith I kept has been my strength. That's why it's so really important to me personally. It has been my strength, giving me a lot of strength to move on.
I think that's a really important sort of lesson, isn't it? Because often when people's faith is waning or is being challenged, then they often stop connecting with God's church and sort of go off on their own. But actually what you're saying is, in the difficult times, meeting with the family of God, even though maybe sometimes you didn't feel like it, was the thing that kept you going with him.
Absolutely.
Your relationships with others kept you going with him, really. I know that particularly on our leadership team, you have a speciality and interest in prayer, and you believe in the power of prayer. can you just share with us a little bit about how prayer has been important to you as well in times gone past and now?
Yeah, I think as a Christian, I mean, prayer is really important part of our lives, and it should be, because when we look back at Christ's life, most of his life, he always prayed. There is no account that he didn't pray. He prayed with his disciples. He went alone, and then in secluded places to pray. So he always had a connection going back to his Father who sent him in everything that he did. So I think that should be our focus. That should be our very foundation, prayer. And even as Methodists, I think John Wesley and his brothers, I think that is how it started. Methodism was started in prayers, Bible study group and prayers. So it's really important. For me, like I said, prayer has always given me a kind of hope. That's one thing I would say. It gives us hope, even when you don't know when it's gonna be answered, you don't know how it's gonna come. Once you prayed, or once I prayed, you feel like a bit of relief. You just like you see someone you believe in, or you trust in, or you've heard can do this, and then you've spoken to the person, or you've gone to the person and you've had a word with. You just assume that, just like pouring out an outpour or an outlet to pour out whatever, So one, it relieves, it gives us hope, and it's very comforting and soothing and helps us a lot. So for me, this is how prayer has. So that's why I'm really, really keen in prayers or praying about everything. It does help a lot.
I like that image of sort of handing it over to God, because once you've handed it over to him, then there is that trust, isn't it? That it's in his hands and we can't do anything more about it. And that can then take the worry from us, because actually we've given it to God, and in giving it to God, we're saying, now I'm going to trust you through this, because I'm no longer carrying this on my own. You're carrying it for me.
Yeah. And I also think that it brings us closer. It deepens that connection or that relationship that we have with God. It's just like father and son, or mother and daughter. Once you always talk and communicate with each other, I think it deepens the relationship and brings you closer to each other. So that's how prayer is also like,
If you had to talk to a non-Christian about your faith and what it means to you, in quite a succinct way, quite a crisp, answer. If you've not got long, say because you're on the bus and they're about to get off, what few sentences would you say to a non-believer about what faith means for you?
I just say that faith is something that is putting trust in someone, what you believe in, what you think works for you, what makes you feel, or what makes you who you are and what you believe in. Yeah, so that's what I would say, because if you go there, they say, but this and that, but that is my faith, it's my strength, what I believe in, what I practice every time, because my belief is in it. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm reminded of the 5 letters of faith, and if you take each letter and let it make up a phrase, what I was taught at Sunday school was faith, failing all, I trust him. And that's what you're saying, really, that you trust the Lord Jesus as your guide, your strength, your pattern for living, and failing all, I trust him. That's your faith, isn't it, really? Tell us a little bit about Ghana, because obviously you were brought up in Ghana, you lived a lot of your life as a Christian in Ghana. I'm just wondering, are there things that you miss from your Ghana Christian experience that you don't get here?
Yeah, I do. There are quite a few things for me. I'll first of all mention the style of worship, which is obviously different. We normally to worship in, it's just similar. We sing our hymns, we pray and do all that, but there's a time for praise and worship, and I miss that. So during praise and worship, you are able to dance. You are able to do it in your own way. I mean, you can move with the instruments and everything, and there's a worship team that leads, and so you feel you are in the spirit. I mean, and that's what attracted most of the youth, because that is where we sing and worship and thank God. And when you're in praises time, we dance, move around, you can clap, and then we do some movement. So I do miss that. And I also do miss my small organizations that I did belong to, like Susanna Wesley Missionary Auxiliary, SUMA, shortly we called it in Ghana, which I was an executive member. We met on Wednesdays, but every Saturday morning, it was our responsibility to make sure the church or the sanctuary was ready for Sunday service. We cleaned, dusted, swept around the place, removed cobwebs, wiped the pews, decorate with flowers and everything. So yeah, I do miss that a lot. That is why when I came here and I realized that, oh, the flower arrangement and everything was being done by a group of people, was led by someone in the church, it's just came back to me, that's role, what we used to do every Saturday morning. And so I just thought, you know what, this is an opportunity for me as a SUMA member. So that's what, I mean, got me interested into asking, joining the flower team, actually, because yeah.
Good. So something about exuberance in worship, the natural African colour and movement and rhythm.
Absolutely, with the
which
instrument.
we Brits don't sort of having quite the same way, but maybe need to embrace more fully in terms of being a bit more spirit-led, perhaps. I think that's what you're saying. And also some of the groups that have been foundational, that maybe ground people in being practical in their faith in terms of serving God. So that's really interesting. Thank you.
I do miss my Bible study group as well, which I do belong to before moving from Ghana here. I was attending the Monday Bible study group with the bishop's wife. I was in the bishop's wife's group, so it was really an interesting small group. We shared fellowship and we became like a mini family. So that was also my inspiration for pushing and making that move to belong to a house group, in Emmanuel. So I do miss it a lot.
And I know that we as a leadership team are looking at house groups, and that you have a particular desire to maybe host or at least facilitate a house group. So that would be great if we can get that off the ground after all this lockdown.
Yeah.
Finally, what are your hopes for the future personally, and maybe for your family and for the church?
My hopes for the future, I just hope that God continues to use me the way He wants, guide and direct my path, because I've always been praying that I want to know what He wants me to do. I still don't know whether I know. So I just ask that, just let me know my role, what you really want me to do in the church. How do you want to use me? In which way would I be efficient in your vineyard? How can I make an impact? So that's my hope, that He continue to guide and direct my path and keep looking after us, the family. And then it's also my hope that the boys will grow in faith as they keep fellowshipping with the other groups, and that they won't leave the faith. But even if they do, it's just my hope, because I always commit them to God, that He keep guiding and directing, and that He will find a way of bringing them back. That's my hope. Yeah. And then for the church, it's my hope that we grow from strength to strength, from one spirit level to the other, and that we will become open to everyone as Christ did, and God is open to everyone. We will be a place where people who have lost hope will come or will step foot in the church, and then they will leave full of hope. It will be a place where you live in the morning, where you are low and you don't know what to do. You just feel like, oh, let me go and sing. But then you leave going home, not just being singing, but just being lifted up. So that is my hope for the church, that it will be a place where you come empty and then you go back full. And it will be a place where we will share fellowship and live as one.
Amen to that. Yeah, a place of welcome, a place of growth, a place of deeper spirituality and of deeper sharing in worship, in fellowship and in prayer. Lovely. Thank you very much, Doris, for joining me this morning. It's lovely to speak to you and just to hear a bit more about your story. Hopefully other people have heard that and are encouraged by your words, because our desire is to encourage. It's not to say our story is the best story or the only story. It's just to show that everybody has a different story, but we can encourage one another in our stories. And you've certainly been an encouragement to me this morning. So thank you for the conversation, and may God bless you
God
and
bless
your
you.
family. Thank you very much.